All right, section 8.2, subtracting polynomials. So, last class, we learned how to add polynomials, so let's review that a little bit. We learned two methods. We learned group and combine like terms. So, if this is our polynomial. You'll notice that these aren't in order. But when you do them, you want to put them in order. Highest degree first, okay? So, technically these should be over here then. So we have our cubed terms, then our squared terms, then our just our single terms, and then our constants. So those should be switched. But here's how we would combine and add, okay? And then we also talked about aligning and adding. And when we align and add, if you're missing a term, so like in this one you have a squared term, but in this one you don't. So in each of these, so we've got a trinomial and a polynomial that we're subtracting or adding here. So when I have that happen, I need to fill that space with a 0 when I do align and add, okay? So that I add correctly. And so what do I get here? There's an imaginary 1 here, so I'm going to get 3y cubed plus 4y squared. Remember, don't automatically write that plus sign down. First do the math, and here's y, because that's going to be negative y, okay? And then I'm going to get plus 3. So don't automatically write this sign down. Do the math first, then that sign goes with your answer, okay? So that's aligning and adding. Grouping, I would have got the exact same answer. So if I had done this, I would have got that exact same answer. I've got my imaginary 1 here, so I get 3y cubed plus, whoops, see, I just did it, minus y plus 4y squared because it doesn't have a friend to add to, and then plus 3. Same answer. These, again, should be in the opposite order, technically, okay? They're not wrong if they aren't, but it's just better to have them in the correct order. Okay, so let's look at, sorry, I just added a page by accident. Let's look at what would happen if we would multiply this whole polynomial, quadratic, by -3. This is something we've done before as we were doing some other lessons. So what do I get when we were doing systems of equations? We did this. What would I get? I'd like you to figure these 3 things out. Multiply this quadratic by -3, this quadratic by -2, and this quadratic by negative, make sure you do that correctly. Okay, I'm going to pause the video while you do that. You should pause the video as well. I'm going to come back with some answers and we'll talk. Okay, these are the solutions you should have got. So -3 times 2 gives me -6x squared. -3 times 1 gives me -3x. And -3 times +5 gives me -15. So all of those turn to negative because they all started as positives. Then again, -2 times 4 gives me -8x squared. -2 times -2 gives me a +4x. So make sure that you do that well. And -2 times +1 gives me a -2. So these signs would change. All of these signs would change, right? It's very, very important that you're careful. So when I have a negative, what number was out here? A negative imaginary 1, I'm going to end up changing the sign of everybody in here. So this started out a +7 turns to a -7. Started out a -3 turns to positive, and the positive turns to negative. So this is really, really, really important. Now, you'll notice that this -1 is attached to the parentheses, okay? If I had a -1 plus this whole thing, This negative 1 is no longer attached to this parentheses. What's in front of this parentheses? Actually an imaginary 1. Okay? We are not distributing this. There's a plus sign in between here, and that would not be distribution. Be careful with that. Okay? Also, we always go left to right. This negative sign out here is multiplying to the things behind it. It never touches the things in front of it because we always work left to right. Okay? Okay. With that said, let's talk subtraction. Get that page out of there. Okay? So, I want to, again, group and combine like terms for this first one. And we're going to look at this. So when I am looking at this, I have this negative here, this negative 1. So before I group and combine terms, I want to distribute that. And I want to make this negative, make that positive, make that negative. And so then I can align and add well. So I would have my 3, maybe I'll try and use my colors here. Where are my colors? So I've got 3 minus 2x plus 2x squared. Technically, I probably should have put those in the right order, but that's okay. Okay, now I've taken care of this negative 1 here by putting it inside. So what happens to this? It changes to a plus sign. And so I'm going to end up adding these together. What do I have over there? I've got negative 4x. I've got plus 5. And I've got minus 3x squared. Because I took and I distributed this negative 1 into my parentheses. And now I can add these together. 3 plus 5 is 8. Negative 2 plus negative 4 is negative 6x. 2 plus negative 3 is negative x squared. So you should have got, and you probably want to write that in the correct order, negative x squared minus 6x plus 8. So here is your final answer. Now, if you did not take that first step and distribute this negative 1, you may have missed this. You could put minus here, but you need to make sure that you subtract everything correctly. Okay? I like aligning and adding for this. What would combining like terms would look similar, right? I would have, actually, I think aligning and adding might be here. So I did that in the wrong order. So change this to align and add. Sorry. And then over here, we'll combine like terms. I apologize. So I would have 3 minus negative 5. If I don't change that, which would change that to plus. Okay? Plus negative 2x minus 4x. So you'll notice I forgot to put that in. So as long as you are very careful, it will be okay. Plus, this is a 2x squared minus 3x squared. Okay? So 3 plus 5 is 8. Negative 2 minus 4x is negative 6x. 2 minus 3x is negative x squared. So I get the same answer either way. but two different methods. On this method, it's not as crucial that you distribute your negative sign in. On align and add, it is. You should always distribute your negative sign in. So you decide which method you like. Neither method is wrong. Oops. Neither method is wrong. I would just like you to stick to one method. Okay? Could you please solve 1, 2, and 3? Come back and see if you have the same answers as me. So either align and add. If you're going to align and add, distribute your -1. Or group. But remember, in the parentheses, you're subtracting, but you're adding the two things together. Okay? Or three things together. All right? So subtract some polynomials. Come back. See if you got the same answer I did. Okay, for number 1, you should have got 4p cubed because I moved this 4p over. Oops. You should have got minus 3p squared because we brought that down. This adds up to 16p. This adds up to -10. And so your answer should have been this. Right? For number 2, if you group them together, you would have got 4x cubed minus -2x cubed, so it changes to plus plus, giving you 6x cubed, -3x squared minus x squared gives you 4x squared. Okay? Your 6x doesn't have a partner, so he stays the way it is. And then -4 minus -2 changes to plus plus, so you get -2. Okay? Have you done number 3 yet? For number 3, you're going to do, if you want to do align and add, you probably want to put this one in order. Okay? I'm going to change my signs to everybody. And so I'm going to do y cubed on top. I'm actually going to take it from over here. Okay? And then I'm going to do the top one from there. So y cubed plus 0y squared. I don't have any y squareds over here. Minus 12y minus 7. Okay? And then I'm going to take this one, and I'll use blue for that one. And I'm going to, okay, my 8y goes with my 12y. My -10 goes with my -7. My 5y squared goes here, and I don't have a y cubed, so I'm going to put 0y cubed, and I'm going to add this together. I'm going to add because I changed the sign inside my parentheses after my subtraction sign. And now I can align and add. I'm going to have a single y cubed by itself. I'm going to have 5y squared by itself. I'm going to have -4y, because -12 plus 8 is -4. And then I'm going to have -17. Okay? So I'm hoping that you got those same answers. If you have any questions, please ask them when you get to class. If you're afraid to ask them, we'll ask them while we're working on worksheets so that you know what you're doing. And we'll go from there. God bless.